estimates when giving out information related to what number of ballots we have in the system and what it's possible for us to be counting. As of this morning, we have more solid numbers based on the reports that we can get from the automated mail ballot processing system, because all of the ballots, minus tomorrow's mail, have been run through. So these estimates that I'm giving you now are based on those numbers. Last night we ran 12,309 ballots through, and they were reported in last night's report. As of this morning, we received 104 pieces of mail, which is obviously a lot lower than we had been. We have one more day tomorrow to pick up mail, and that'll be the last of the mail. We know that right now, based on what we saw in the vault this morning, we've got a little over 50,000 ballots that still need to be counted. 15,900 ballots are currently in tabulation behind us here, being tabulated. There are 34,130 currently being worked on by the counting board. And as soon as those are complete, they will be sent directly to tabulation. Again, the same exceptions are in place. The cure, which runs through Monday, those aren't included in that number. And then the provisionals, and that number has not changed, but staff has been diligently working, going through those to determine which ones are eligible to be counted next week after we get our report from the Secretary of State with all 17 counties listed there so that we can identify anything that was done illegally. I want to remind voters that the cure, my staff is still currently working on that. Please take advantage of calling the line, 702-455-6552. Today we'll be working 7:30 to 5:30. Over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, that hotline will be working 8 a.m. to 5. And Monday being the last day for the voters to take care of the cure, we'll be doing that from 7:30 to 5 p.m. And again, that number was 5,555. Oh, that's on the provisionals, I'm sorry. So the active cures that are still eligible to be cured by voters is 9,659. So with that, I'll open it up. Mr. Reddy, you want to start?
Gloria, how many ballots have been cured?
That would be whatever the math is on 14,569 minus 9,659. So it looks like about 5,000 have been cured through the system. Yes.
How many people are working the hotline? Because we've been talking to people saying it's taking them about 20 minutes or so to just get through.
I would have to check on that number. I know that earlier in the week it was about 20 individuals who were working that hotline. I believe we've increased the number on that hotline. Once we finish with the majority of our counting tomorrow, we'll be able to shift staff over to increase that number. So if you're getting those reports, I'll be sure that I look into that so that we can increase support there.
Do you have all the Dropbox ballots on election day been tabulated?
No, not yet. Some of them are still in the counting board being processed. So the numbers that I gave you today, everything we're dealing with now is inside of that group of the drop-off box in the mail that we got on Wednesday.
So it's a mix.
It's a mix, yes.
And of those 5,000 ballots that have been cured, are those included in the 50,030?
No.
Or have some of them been
Those ones are already been counted, more than likely, yes.
And one more question, and I'll be done. And that is, what time will you update more results today? And will it just be once today?
It'll just be once today. It'll be in the evening. We want to get as many as we can in today. We're pretty certain that it won't be completed today. So tomorrow, as I had mentioned in the previous conferences, we should be done with the majority of those ballots. The only thing we're getting in tomorrow is one more day of mail. I would be very surprised if that's a large number. So
What time tonight do you update?
I don't want to give you a time because I don't know for certain. I know it'll be in the evening. I think we've been averaging about 6 o'clock. It might actually be a little later than that, but we'll get it in tonight without a doubt.
Thank you.
Now, sure, that's a very good question. So what we have been doing is going every day. We have a scheduled pickup at the main post office, the Sunset Station, but tomorrow will be an exception. So we'll be there tomorrow for our regular pickup, and then we're going to make an additional call as they round through all of the post offices to make sure that they haven't missed anything. So we'll actually try to make 2 pickups tomorrow to make sure that we haven't missed anything.
There's another county that started seeing that some of the ballots were postmarked the day after election, so they're separating those.
We're doing the same thing.
Okay, could you elaborate on how many?
Oh, I don't know how many there are. I'm sorry.
Okay, but you have found some that are postmarked.
Oh, sure. But we'll be able to report on that eventually. Those that weren't postmarked by election day, they're not eligible to be counted.
You mentioned that
Yeah. Oh, sure. I can't really speak on what the organizations are doing. I can tell you that that's public information and it's available on our website. Some of them are doing that proactively to try to help voters. For us, we're statutorily required to reach out to a voter that's in the queue. If they provided us with a phone number or an email, we reach out through those means, and we always send snail mail. We always send a letter. I mean, obviously, that's not very effective at this point, but it's required by the law, so we continue to do it.
How long does it take before someone's ballot is cured to get counted?
That's usually, if it happens that day, it goes to staff for them to verify and pull that ballot out of the vault so that it can be put into a batch to be counted. So that's happening usually the day of. But Monday will be the deadline, and so we may not get them all in that night, but everything that came in before 5, they will be counted Tuesday for sure. The deadline statutorily is for me to finish counting mail ballots by Tuesday, so we have plenty of time on Tuesday.
You mentioned that you'd be done with the vast majority of ballots by tomorrow. Are you still on track for that? Because we've got 34,130.
Yes.
Do you think tomorrow you'll have maybe even twice this 15,900 done?
Well, we should have the majority of the ballot, barring any equipment failures, which they've been working really well. We had them serviced before the election. They've been working really well. I don't anticipate that, but we should have them in tomorrow for a final large report.
Evening tabulation.
Well, if we finish and it's 3 o'clock, we're going to go ahead and report. But if it runs into the evening, then to be consistent with what we've been doing, I think we've been reporting at like 6 or 6:30. But we'll work as late as we can, whatever needs to be done to get it done.
just to button up the point, you told us at each of these conferences that you've got full staff working and all available machines working, correct?
That's correct.
Today?
That's correct. Go ahead.
Full staff means how many, and in comparison to the primary, how have you increased the staff, or is it the same?
There's several hundred people that are currently working, and they're being shifted now to the areas where we had people in manual signature, we had people in Agilis, we have people on hotlines, but now we're getting to the tail end of what we need to do, so we've shifted them into the counting board or to help over here with sorting. But the tabulation team stays pretty consistent because that's the fastest of all the groups. They can read, if they had to, about 8,000 ballots an hour. So
What is that staffing compared to the
it's more. It's more than it was in the prime. Oh, I don't want to tell you. I misread. Yes. At the back there. I don't think I got you.
Yes, hi, good morning. I understand you said repeatedly there's a schedule to follow, there's the legal process, but what would you like to say to voters who might still be concerned or discouraged at this point?
Well, we don't want to see voters who are discouraged. If they're discouraged, I would say that we're continuously trying to educate voters in that we're not purposely holding this process back. We're doing everything in our power to move ballots forward just as quickly as we can. But the statutory deadlines that we have in place, I can't finish all the mail until it all comes in. That's a very small number, but still, I can't finish until Saturday, even if I wanted to. Monday, we have the cure deadline. I've got to wait for those voters to give them an opportunity to get their ballot cured. I can't read provisionals because we're a bottom-up voter registration state, so the secretary has to compile that report, send it to us so that we can identify any duplicate people who have done something illegal by voting twice in 2 counties. So I don't want voters to be discouraged. I want them to know, I've tried to say in every press conference, that we're doing everything we possibly can to move this process forward. We'll see if we can make improvements in the future.
Thank you. And I do have one example. Just yesterday evening, a man exited the building saying that he's had to come back 3 different times to verify his signature. Is that something you're seeing?
Ma'am, you'd have to give me the name of that individual, and I'd like to personally look into that. That seems out of the ordinary. I don't know why it would have had to come down. But we have electronic means for people to do that. We've been very vocal with getting that information out. Somebody earlier asked about the advocacy groups locally who are also working to help people cure their ballots, of giving that information out. I don't know why he had to come back 3 times, but I'd like to know, and we could look into it.
Some observers have said they can't follow a balloting process from start to finish. Is that true? And if it is true, should that change in the interest of transparency?
I think I've mentioned on many occasions, in Clark County, we're being more transparent, far more transparent than the law requires us. I don't make the law, I administrate. So if they have any suggestions for what they think should be allowed for them to view or participate in, those are issues that they need to take to the legislature and have them sponsor a bill that would change the law. But as far as I'm concerned, we've been very transparent with what we've been doing, and you all have walked through this warehouse and seen what we've done in all of our areas. We've got glass cubicles set up in a lot of the large areas where a lot of the work is going on. So we've made, I think, a very diligent effort to try to be transparent in everything that we do.
So 2 unrelated questions. So is there a chance that the 50,030 ballots to be counted could be totally completed by tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Very good one.
Okay, and the other question unrelated. Since Trump made his comment, have you had to increase security here?
Security is about the same. I think the question was asked the other day. We learned a lot from the 2020 election, and so we proactively did things in an effort to try to create a safe environment for all of our staff. All these people that I've mentioned have been here. They have to be confident that they're going to be able to get out of their car and come in and not feel threatened. Go home at night in the dark and feel like they won't be intimidated or that anybody will verbally accost them as they're leaving the facility. We learned that in 2020. We took advantage of it. Thanks to support from the County Commission and County Management, we have the resources in place to do what we feel is necessary. So I wouldn't say it's been increased. It's just what it was then.
Are you able to say after the former president's comments, was there an increase in threats directed towards you or your staff?
Not that I'm aware of.
Folks, if we could have just one more question.
You mentioned on Election Day there were some issues with observers. We know that there were representatives from the Department of Justice here. Were there any issues with the DOJ observers?
They will provide us with a report. It takes them a while to gather that. This is not the only jurisdiction they were in. They were all over the country. So I'm not aware of anything. They didn't directly report anything to me. They're here to make sure that civil rights violations aren't happening here in Clark County. So they did a lot of things like we're statutorily, federally required under the 203 provision to provide Spanish and Filipino here in Clark County because the population dictates that we're required to do that. They were doing things like going from polling place to polling place, making sure that we had translators in place, and then actually listening to them. It's not enough for us to say that we have a Spanish speaker there. They were actually listening to them communicate with the voter and assisting them to make sure they spoke Spanish at a proficient enough level to help voters. So we don't have the report yet, but we didn't hear anything directly from them.
Mr. Gloria, if people
One more.
hotline, if people don't want
What hotline? Which one?
The Cure hotline.
Okay.
If people don't want to call the Cure hotline, can they come down to this location? to
Absolutely.
cure their ballot?
We'll be open on Monday. The front doors aren't open over the weekend. Only the hotline is open. So over the weekend, they need to call that line, the 455-6552, and on Monday they can come in until 5 o'clock.
Did you, what time is your last pickup on the mailers and Saturday?
I'll be honest, because I don't know yet. But we'll be there for our regular pickup in the morning. We're going to call our regional post office supervisors to make sure there's nothing else to be picked up, and if need be, we'll be there.
Hey
Thank
folks,
you.
if you want to get B-roll today, we can probably do it over here. Anyone